on a topic which takes care of our newborn in a manner so that they face the environment much better with respect to infections and in particular corona infection. And therefore, I thought that I would talk on something which enhances their immunity, and this will be applicable to both neonates and infants. So this talk basically we thought is extremely and universally relevant. It is essential for us to appreciate that drugs or no drugs, but to enhance the body's fighting capacity, it would definitely help each individual. And therefore, there's a need that we all must think that how to enhance our fighting capacity, means immunity, and make our newborn child a very strong so that he faces such an enemy with this inner strength. And so my basic aim is to give a positive vibes in all of us and in our newborns, the future Indians. Now, my specific learning objectives are basically to have immunity and growth enhancement. We will give you some evidence-based recommendations for the interventions which are meant for mothers, neonates, and infants. Therefore, by the end, I would appreciate that if I succeed in some manner to give you concept and practice reinforcement occurs in day-to-day life when it comes to health of our small, tiny babies. I'm straight away going to interventions because I'm trying to keep my presentation very small. And this presentation, I'll give you a background that we have written a guideline on immunity enhancement. And so I've just picked up my table, which was my summary table, so that whatever we talk is to the point and so that it's easily understandable and doable facts come in front. So in maternal intervention, the most important is the maternal nutrition. There's enough evidence that if we take mother's nutrition very seriously, which includes balanced diet, and importantly micronutrients, which includes selenium, zinc, iodine, iron, DH, and folate. There's a very strong evidence, and we must do our level best to enhance maternal nutrition, even in the form of if we need to give some vitamin or DHA supplementation, we should go ahead. The second point to be considered for maternal intervention was maternal probiotic use. We found there is inadequate evidence, and hence we could not give any clear-cut recommendation, though it doesn't have any harm. So maybe one could give curd to the mother, as such it will take care of the GIT and GIT microbiota and might help. The third important intervention is the antenatal steroids. Well, there's a tremendous evidence. It is beneficial and the strength of recommendation is strong. One could give dexamethasone 6 milligrams 12 hourly 4 dosages or betamethasone 12 milligrams 24 hourly 2 dosages. It has a minor harmful effect of a scope of having aggravation of chorioamnionitis, but the amount of good it does to a fetus and a newborn is immense. It helps at birth and also a long-term facilitation of a newborn. Coming to neonatal interventions, or I say perinatal interventions, the intervention which I am first talking is a delayed cord clamping. Now, by delayed cord clamping, I mean that when baby is delivered, we should not cut the cord immediately, should delay it at least more than 30 seconds. We delay it more may be better, but at least more than 30 seconds. It is a huge advantage, very strong recommendation. It helps baby overall, stabilizes baby hemodynamically, cardiovascular system-wise, a lot of gains, brain in particular. So we should be looking for it. And today, even we talk, even if the baby is having some asphyxia, even in that case, we should not worry and go ahead with the delayed cord clamping. There could be some minor issues with this polycythemia and hyperbilirubinemia, not significant to counter the benefits of this intervention. The second intervention is breastfeeding, that we all know. It is Amrit, the nectar given by God Almighty for our offspring. So there is no doubt that it must be given right since the time of birth and desirably exclusively till 6 months of age, and could be continued as long as possible, maybe up to 2 years. And there are no harms. So there is no doubt about it. And we must press hard for it. Now, what happens that for some reason, if we start formula feed, we take away the baby's advantage of breastfeeding. And one fact which we have to understand, that in the fetal life, when uterus could give blood to the fetus, the only feeding was through placenta. Natural means. Fetus survives and does well. But what happens afterwards? The breasts are available. It is only lack of our counseling and communication giving conviction to the mother that leads to inadequate or not giving breastfeeding. And there has to be need of changing of our attitude, and we must come very strongly in our practice. As a perinatologist, both as a obstetrician and of neonatologist, and parents for sure, we must convey that breastfeeding has to be given, not the formula made right from the word go. Now, next is colostrum. Now, colostrum is a wonderful source of immune substances, be it humoral or a cellular immunity. And hence, it must be given to all the babies when they are delivered. Even if they are sick or even if they are away in ICU, the initial breast milk, which is colostrum, must be expressed and should be handed over to the newborn care place and should be given. Let it be even a drop. The amount of growth factors it has is beyond imagination. And hence, there should be an all-out effort to give human colostrum to the baby. Nowadays, we are looking even for a bovine colostrum, and we have found that there is evidence which says that it is beneficial. However, here it is an animal source, so the benefits may not be as much as of a human colostrum. It is available in some form, and maybe we should be trying in case human colostrum is not available. Of course, one would keep a possibility in mind that since it is from the animal source, there could be some issues of intolerance. Next, I come to probiotics. And probiotics are absolutely useful in preterm, there is no doubt about it. There's a very strong recommendation of use of probiotics. The suggestion is that there are various probiotics. Choose a probiotic, which is a multi-species probiotic containing bifidobacterium and lactobacillus. We can look at the specific doses when we give. Maybe a smaller baby, we can give in 2 divided doses, otherwise a single dose would be given. We should be a little careful that there could be a possibility of a little bit of a feed intolerance and be watchful about sepsis. However, it's not a huge problem, and therefore we should be looking for giving probiotics in all the small babies, preterm certainly, maybe less than 30 weeks, 32 weeks one could give, and should start as soon as possible. Baby can be given orally things, maybe within first 2 to 3 days. However, in term babies, we are not very clear for the recommendation because we feel the innate resistance is good, but there will be in some situation when the baby is being given antibiotics, we are destroying the intestinal flora, changing the microbiota, and hence it could be considered. Next point which I'm going to talk is lactofab. Advantages in preventing infection, also enhances immunity. But the evidence is equivocal and strength is average. So therefore, one would be using the word that it may be used. It is available in some powders and mixed formula and vitamin supplements. So one could consider giving lactofab. The next important, which is extremely important and doable, is the group of nutraceuticals, which means various vitamins, including from A, B, C, D, E, including minerals, microminerals, zinc, selenium, copper, omega-3 fatty acids. They're all very, very useful. So, and there is a very strong recommendation for this. And hence, we all must give these nutraceuticals to enhance the immunity of a newborn. And for sure, those newborns who are sick and admitted in the newborn care units, it is good to enhance the ability of the lining of the body, maybe gut, respiratory system. It will enhance the growth. It will enhance the fighting capacity, even of the covering, the skin, inflammatory mechanisms. So there's a very strong recommendation that we should all be using these nutraceuticals and see that what is available in the market, look for it and start using them right from the word go whenever you have the baby in hand and you have a scope to enhance baby's immunity. The other interventions which I am going to discuss include judicious use of antibiotics. The recommendation is very strong that there should be minimum use of antibiotics and maybe a narrow spectrum antibiotics. There is no scope of preventive antibiotics. So we should have only need to use antibiotics. There should be a very strong antibiotic stewardship program and antibiotic policy. And if we just follow this, there will be a tremendous gain for the baby's microbiota. And this baby would do much better in the NICU and subsequently days and years to come if we don't give antibiotics or if we give it only if it is required. The intensity should be low and duration should be minimal. Now, something else which I am talking a little talked less in the newborn care. People are not aware by and large. Or if they are there, there's not much we talk about evidence. Now I'm talking of massage therapy. We use in our newborn care unit, it is beneficial. The strength of recommendation is low to yes. And the massage should be given for about 15 minutes, 3 to 4 times in a day. The oil which we should use should be non-irritant, cheap, locally available. One could heat the oil and then use this oil after washing our hands and rubbing them dry and warm, making them warm, and this oil could be applied. And before we apply, we must ensure that it is non-acrid. आंखों में चुभना नहीं चाहिए. And therefore, one could apply that oil on his face first, and if his eyes don't tear, it means it is sick. So the oil should be non-irritant, non-fragrant, non-acrid, non-colored as far as possible. So the simplest example is what is available to the coconut oil. But any other oil can be used as if it is affordable and one feels like that. One should start massage therapy only after ensuring that baby is hemodynamically stable. It should not happen that you do a massage and baby becomes serious. So maybe after a few days of a baby, the critical thing which has settled, then certainly one should go ahead. And one should be also careful and gentle because at times that we give it to our wet mother or some other person who attends the baby, and we have got babies who have got fractures. Now it should be with gentleness, and mother would never do the fracture. It is only when somebody else is being asked. So one should be gentle when one does a massage to the newborn. Next is sleep. Now sleep is immune enhancing. This we really talk in newborns for the sleep immunity enhancement, but we looked at the literature. It is beneficial though. Strength is low to average. And therefore, we must ensure that our baby gets adequate sleep. And this could happen when we change our attitude. We become more developmentally supportive in the NICU. We should have a day and night lighting system. So we should not unnecessarily make sound. We give a very quiet environment. Do not prick when it is not required to be pricked. We do clustering of activities. And all this developmentally supportive care would ensure that baby gets adequate sleep. It would enhance the baby's immunity. The other thing is the music in NICU or newborn care. It is beneficial. Recommendation is yes. The evidence is low to average because not much of a scientific data has been produced. In fact, we did one of the studies long back in the intensive care. We used various types of music, including mother's lorry, and we found it does a tremendous good. So it should be used, and we looked at the various parameters in the critical care, in the heart rate, blood pressure, saturation, respiratory, all settled, all improved, baby stabilized. And therefore, we should use music. And the point which I put as asterisk here is that music should be soft. It desirably mother's own voice, she is singing and administering it to the best note. Avoid distress, the next intervention, because the newborn has a tremendous stress. He was living in a comfortable environment of uterus. From there, he has come out. All vagaries of external environment is on. light, sound, pain, prick, temperature, etc. And it gives them stress. So we should be very, very supportive. We should be very, very neonate friendly and should do any activity to the baby. Before that, we should consider that will it distress him. Give it a very serious thought. And therefore, the NICU who has got a developmentally supportive attitude does not give stress to the babies. And these babies go home intact. But if we give stress, then these babies bleed in the brain. They develop stroke or ischemia of brain, and they have problems in time to come. May not be gross, but if nothing else, at least poor scholastic performance, ADHD, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that we must avoid stress to anyone. Sunlight, useful. Evidence is equivocal and recommendation is low to average. So be careful. Giving sunlight, baby should not become hypothermic, and she should not get too much of exposure because then those rays will have adverse effect. But some exposure to sunlight is good. Even vitamin D would be better. Fresh air, very beneficial. Again, the evidence is not too much, and hence we go low to average recommendation of strength because the studies are not much available on anyone. But the common sense and the logic says that it's beneficial. And I put asterisks just from the point of view that when we expose to the fresh air, we must see that this is not a polluted air. Our air is most of the time polluted as well. So you must choose a place where it's not a polluted air, fresh air, and babies should not become hypothermic. Keep that in mind. Now coming to some of the products which Indian medicine has been using for long, in our home we have been using for long, but we have been reluctant to make a remark about them in our clinical practice. And hence I thought that I would have a look at the scientific evidence and make a recommendation only on those products where the scientific evidence is available. So first I'll talk about turmeric, haldi. The active compound there is a curcumin, is an active compound. It is beneficial. We recommend this. Strength is low to average. And maybe when we give anything additional, we normally say that till 6 months of age, we want to give exclusive breastfeed. So maybe one could start after that. However, as we are giving multivitamins before that, so one could consider giving honey even, turmeric even before. The point which I would like to make is to make turmeric most effective includes one, the curcumin comes out from the turmeric, the active compound, only when it is heated and heated in an oily environment, which means hot. If we put turmeric powder in a boiling milk, which means it is heat, it is hot, and it also is a cream. So boiling milk, getting turmeric powder heated, will get the best curcumin out and will have a beneficial effect much more. Likewise, when we give tadka, means when in various home recipes of making dal, sabji, so there we take oil, and when we heat the oil, then we should put turmeric there, and then again the curcumin will come out, and it will have the best effect. Another thing which we could use may not be a neonatal practice, but maybe late infancy, is that one can put a little bit of a black pepper when we are heating turmeric. In that case, curcumin comes out even better. And hence, turmeric would have the wonderful availability of curcumin if you use these practices and will be
Sir, can I request you to summarize because there are other two or three pictures here.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm finishing. Next is honey. Next is honey, which is very useful. One could use it. The next one is the giloy. Giloy is it's beneficial. We are using it and it's beneficial. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when you have an enemy like China, it's very important that we should enhance our immunity. We take things which improves our system. So likewise for Corona time, we must enhance our immunity and do physical prevention. So let's take a vow today that we would bring in practices which improve our immunity of our children by doing regular immunization, prevent infection by having a disciplined lifestyle. Therefore, to conclude, let's facilitate immune-enhancing intervention uses. Use of natural resources is desired rather than giving market preparations otherwise. We should minimize antibiotic usages, and there's a need to educate the target practitioners. With this, I thank you. Thank you very much for listening.